because we didn't know what on earth was going on, what had happened. We were like, right, she just basically held her breath for so long that she went unconscious. Hey Fizz fam, welcome back to the videos. This is going to be one which is not an entertainment video, so if you're looking for an entertainment video, go and watch one of the previous ones. I mean, I was going to say a little bit serious, but it's a lot serious. We've kind of debated about whether to bring this video out or not, whether to talk about it, just because it's like something we feel really protective about and something really upsetting which has happened to us and to our baby. But we've decided that actually we think it would be a good idea to make it, just because for anybody else who's going through it, which turns out there's actually quite a fair few people who are going through this, it's going to make you feel better just to know that somebody else is experiencing it as well.
Yeah, I mean, even if somebody else hasn't experienced this exact thing, it's probably going to be reassuring to other parents or families that who may be going through a difficult or challenging time with their children or their baby. So it's kind of nice for you guys, so you can like kind of relate to us and see that we're going through things too as well. That might be helpful, because some of you guys are like, oh, you're a perfect family, everything's really good for you, and things are good for us at the end of the day, but we do have things that crop up, and I think maybe you guys would like to be part of this journey with us as well, even though it's not like the most exciting or happiest part, if that makes sense. Like, that is what we do. We try and make you guys smile, but obviously things happen to us as well which aren't exactly things to smile about, but it's nice to share it with you because you're our friends. So
our baby has gone unconscious like 3 times now.
Or nearly 3 times.
And I mean, do you want to start from the beginning?
Before we tell you what we found out, what the diagnosis is, we'll go through the story and how it first ever happened. So the first time it ever happened to Karma was when we first were in Dubai. She was very overtired because we were a bit jet lagged, so we just got here and it was bedtime, and I think she's just a little bit confused because her body was all a little bit out of whack. And then she basically was playing in the living room and she had a little tumble on the floor, and her head touched the floor, didn't it? It wasn't like really hard or anything, but because she was overtired, she like reacted to it and she started crying, and she did one of those like really loud upset cries. But then she held her breath, and I was like, right, because sometimes babies do this. They'll cry and hold their breath a little bit, especially like when they're newborn, and then they'll like release a really loud one. Yeah. But she never ever released it, and then as she was holding her breath, I was looking at her thinking, she's acting really weird. And she didn't like breathe for ages, and it really, really made us worried. Like, we were panicking, thinking, what is happening to her? And her eyes were going a little bit funny as well, and she was just like really stiff and silent. She
passed out. I think you're like downplaying it a bit. It was absolutely terrifying, and we felt completely helpless because her head literally just went limp and blue. It was only for like a few seconds. All of this happens in like 10 seconds.
But what we did is we were like, Karma, because I didn't want her to slip out and leave us, because I didn't know whether it was going to be bad for her. Like, will she get brain damage, or was she going to like, I don't know. I hate to say it, but is she like something really severe going to happen? Like, Karma, and I think Dan was blown on her face.
It's a bit of a blur. To blow like in her face.
And then suddenly she came out of it. It's almost like we caught her just before she'd either just passed out, or she was then about to go into the proper unconsciousness, and we snapped her out of it, and then she just blurted out the cry and screamed and cried it out. And then I immediately wanted to breastfeed her straight away to comfort her, because that is what I normally do if she's upset or she's hurt herself. However, Darren said, don't, just in case.
Because I wanted to know that she was breathing. I wanted there to be like regular breathing, because we didn't know what on earth was going on, what had happened. We were like, right, she just basically held her breath for so long that she went unconscious.
I thought she'd held her right. I thought she'd done that thing what babies do. They hurt themselves, they hold their breath for a while, and then they release it. And I thought she'd held it for so long that she must have nearly passed out, because she's just really overtired and she just needs to go to bed. So after a while, once I knew that she's settled and we like, you know, holding her and reassuring her and comforting her, then I breastfed her, and then she went to sleep and she was fine. Like, there's no like injury, nothing bad with her. I was a little bit worried about what had happened, but I just thought jet lag with a baby, you know, when babies are overtired, they do act funny. And you know, so
because it's almost like it's been building up, because she's like, when she gets upset, her cry had been like I don't know, like developing, where we knew when a really loud cry was going to come out when she's really upset or unhappy about something, because she'd go
Yeah, she's always done that.
And then go, wow, and really go for it.
Could be,
she's fine, by the way. I need to say she's
just
fine.
All the girls are playing
there.
Yeah, they just,
probably should have said that at the beginning.
She's covered in a little fruity bar at the moment. So some of the things she could cry about normally is either if she has a little tumble because she's learning to walk at the moment, or sometimes it can be if you've taken something off her, like she's gone for something she shouldn't touch, you know, like your phone. Sometimes if she's not allowed to like what the girls are eating, something like that. It can be anything with Karma. When she wants
small
something,
things, you know what they're going to choke on.
Like when she wants something, she lets us know. So okay then, so that happened, and we just assumed it was just because she held her breath for so long that she like passed.
But it was terrifying.
It was terrifying.
Told the girls about it the next morning.
Yeah, we didn't want to tell them, but I just wanted to tell them. I thought they should know about it, and like as a family, we're very close and we're open with each other. So I wanted them to tell, because we went to bed that night and we felt really unsettled, didn't we? Oh. Even though she like held her breath and then nearly passed out, or did pass out, as Darren said. I don't like to admit that she had, but it was like so fast like that.
I don't see what else it is.
It was horrible to see your baby just go lose consciousness. It was a really horrible feeling. I've never ever seen somebody pass out before. No. That's never happened to me or in Sienna. It was very, very horrible. I don't really like thinking about it, so that was quite scary when that happened. Right, so we a couple of weeks later, we're in Dubai, things are going really, really well. However, Karma has got her 2 front teeth coming through, so at the moment she's teething, and she's been like a typical teething baby where she's really, really grumpy at times, even to the point where sometimes she'll just scream. You know, she's just going through a lot of pain at the moment. They're coming through, and the other day I saw there's a bit of blood on her gum, so I think they're really cutting all her mouth, and she's just not feeling good with it. So we're just having to put up with her being really moody and grumpy, to the point that like even if we change a nappy or wipe her face or do anything which is like looking after her, what you should do for your baby, she really screams and cries, which is quite hard for us because we wanted her to be clean and have a nappy change, but then it's like
her to feel nice,
but then it sounds like something terrible is going on. It sounds like really, really bad, but she's just having her face wiped, or you know, or just something really simple, putting her in the pushchair, really screaming really loud. So the other day I laid down on the bed and she just had her breakfast or something, I can't remember, and she needed a nappy changed and she needed to get changed. So I was doing it and she was like crying and whinging, like kind of struggling with me. It was nothing new, so I thought I'm going to do this really quickly as I can and then I can play with her. But then she started to like go within herself, right? So she was crying, and it wasn't not a really loud cry like what she did the other day in the living room. It was more like a regular cry actually, which was really weird. And then I saw her like go to hold her breath, and she almost started doing what she did the other night. And I was like, Karma, 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 and I snapped her out of it. So she didn't look like she was going unconscious, but I could tell that she's then about to start holding her breath again. I thought, that's weird, because I thought that was just a one-off the other night. And I was like, that's really suspicious. It almost feels like she was doing what she did the other night, and that made me feel a little bit unsettled. But I mentioned it to you, but I didn't make a big deal. I said, we need to be a bit careful with Karma when she gets upset, because I think she's holding her breath.
Yeah.
That's what I said to you, didn't I?
Which, at that point, seemed like she was in control of it. So we're like, right, she's obviously so upset from the teething that we need to be very careful that she doesn't work herself up into this state.
Yeah, so then, this is the most recent one and the most scariest one, just because I feel like it's the 3rd time it happened. Like, really confirmed to us that she's doing it. Like, this is happening to her. This is while
Sienna and Karma were playing. Sienna, do you want to tell the story?
Yeah.
Just because you were there.
All the girls were here for this time, and this is why it was the most, like, I don't know.
So we were getting the dinner ready.
Yeah.
In the kitchen. The girls were playing in the living room.
Yeah, it was actually me playing with Karma.
Yeah.
She was crawling around, having fun, and then she kind of like slipped onto her tummy. She was on her knees, and then she slipped onto her tummy. And then she started crying, but it wasn't like a really, really like cry. It was just like, oh, I really hurt myself. Not like, it really hurts, like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then in the end, she started to get more and more into a deeper cry until she held her breath for too long, and then she kind of passed out.
Called Mum. You called Mum, didn't you? So Mum came through and picked her up by that point.
Yeah, because I couldn't hear any. Basically, the girls were playing in the living room. It's fine. It's kind of like the kitchen is like connected to the living room, and I could just hear Karma was just whinging a little bit, and then I think Mia picked Karma up and then brought her to me, and then she was like holding her breath. So I think what happened was she just like fell onto her tummy and not really a big deal. This is what we're saying. Like when she's teething at the moment, anything can set her off. And that obviously set her off, and then she started crying again. But then I could see that she's holding her breath, so she hadn't even really properly cried that much. She was just whinging, held her breath. And then I took her off Mia, and I was like, this is weird, she's doing it again. And I was like, calmer, calmer, calmer. Everyone was watching. It was really, really horrible because Sienna hadn't seen this happen before. And Sienna, I think Sienna freaked out. I stay calm. Course, I stay calm in this situation because you've got to, because you don't want to freak out the baby even more. But Sienna was like really
when
she was
closed
upset.
her eyes, she was literally still. She wasn't moving at all, and I got really scared.
Yeah. How I can't really reenact it, but how she goes is like that. Sorry, that's probably a really...
Her face went blue and just
imagine her going still, she went like that. So I was like, calmer, calmer, calmer. I was holding her, and I started blowing in her face, and then she snapped out of it, and then she was like, like that, as if nothing had happened. It was so scary and worrying, and almost a bit confusing as well, because I know this is something which babies do, and I basically... she just threw some food at me, and afterwards I breastfed her, calmed her down, and then we all sat down and talked about it, and then I looked it up, baby holding breath when crying, and then it came up with what Darren's now going to tell you, loads of information. I don't know whether I've heard of this of somebody else before, or maybe it's just intuition, but I just feel like I knew this is something that maybe babies do. I knew it wasn't something proper serious, but I just knew that maybe when children or babies get upset, they'll hold their breath and maybe will knock themselves out. Maybe I have heard it happened to someone else before, because Darren was really, really freaked out. Well, I was freaked out, but Darren was really distraught and traumatized by it. But I said, don't worry, I feel like this is probably common in babies, or it happens to some babies. There's nothing bad. Let's go and research it. And we looked it up. But
now we've had it confirmed, and by the way, I just need to say this just because when you put stuff out on social media, it can be taken the wrong way. This isn't medical advice. It's literally just us discussing our experience, baby Karma's experience, just so if any of you guys are going through the same thing, then it's going to be slightly comforting just to know that someone else is going through the same thing. So we've basically had it confirmed that it is breath holding spells. It's a condition that can occur when a child is frightened, upset or angry, or experiences a sudden shock or pain. The child seems to stop breathing on the outward breath, exhalation, turns a deathly pale grey or blue colour, and temporarily loses consciousness. The episodes are involuntary, so this was like kind of reassuring to know that she's not making that happen herself.
Yeah, it said it's a reflex. So it's something her body automatically does.
Yeah, which means the child can't control them. They usually last for less than a minute, and although upsetting to witness, don't harm the child. Breath holding spells are common, with one type or the other occurring in around 1 in 20 children. They usually start between 6 and 18 months of age and affect both boys and girls equally. In many cases, they'll stop by the time the child is 4 or 5. The child usually cries vigorously for less than 15 seconds and then becomes silent, their breath held on the outward breath, unable to take an inward breath, inhale. They turn blue, particularly around the lips, and lose consciousness. Milder attacks without loss of consciousness will be familiar to most parents. So I guess when we've said it's been like building up, where she's done a real like, or I guess it's that's the in breath, and then she's let out a big cry. But then on this is actually now it's kind of developed to where she does a massive breath and then doesn't breathe after that, which is like when it then becomes terrifying.
See, when we were reading that, I don't think it's ever lasted up to a minute with us, has it?
No,
which is
no,
really,
literally
I feel
10
so
seconds.
Fortunate about that, because a whole minute would literally seem like probably an eternity. It's only literally happened for 10 seconds. It happened so quickly.
Yeah.
But in that time, guys, it's literally terrifying, and you have to... I just go on autopilot and act really calm and go calmer, 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 but I am freaking out inside, because just watching that happen to like your vulnerable baby, and then you've got your other children who are upset by it. It's very scary, but you have to stay calm in these situations.
But this, like finding this out was reassuring. So the episodes are involuntary, aren't dangerous, and don't cause brain damage. They're not a sign of a difficult child or poor parenting. They're not epileptic seizures. And
it's got nothing to do with their development either. Like, there's nothing wrong with her body. It's just a reflex. And do you know what? We've talked about this, and I know what the trigger for it has been, and I think it's because she's teething. I've even said on Instagram at the moment how much Karma's changed since she's been teething, and I really just can't wait till she's not going through that anymore. Because I feel like
she's already at a real like level of upset. So then it's like something minor can really trigger it.
So like the other day, I was just wiping her. So she had a tumble, and that caused it. The other day, I just wiped her face, and it caused it. And then literally, like, say if we went out tomorrow, we got some ice creams, and she wasn't allowed an ice cream, like that could start it off as well if she got upset about it. So it made us a little bit worried, because we're like, do we have to step on eggshells around her?
Yeah.
Like, can we do anything to get her upset? And so we have been very careful lately to keep an eye on her and not to let her get overly upset. Now that's easier said than done with a baby, because like I said, anything trigger off. Like if we need to change a nappy, we're gonna have to change it, but we're trying to do lots of methods where we can try and make her stay as calm as possible, like even more so. Like hopefully when this phase passes, I'm just hoping that she kind of goes back to normal.
Yeah,
I don't want this to last till she's 7. Like it sounds terrifying.
It's only a temporary phase.
Yeah.
And it's basically just about how we manage it and be on the ball of like when we can like instinctively see it happening. So when she's really tired, because like we want to allow her to have the freedom to like be able to learn to walk and stuff like that. But if like the one with the girls, like the third one, she was literally crawling. She wasn't even walking. She was crawling and then just slipped.
The girls love playing in the living room together on the floor, playing with toys. And if she's like sitting up and then she falls back and things like that, like we can't control that. Or if, I don't know, it's going to be hard, guys. I thought that the fact that she's teething was hard. The fact that you have a baby in general, like they're a lot of, you know, they require a lot of care. But now like we've got to be so careful. So yeah, this is what's been going on with us lately.
Yeah, so we wanted to, you know, let you guys know. I mean, also the thing is, like I said, it's basically 5% of children between 6 months and 4 years that this happens to. So it's not exactly that uncommon, is
like
it?
When it happens, you don't need to have any medical care. Even some people recommend.
Remember, this isn't medical advice.
Yeah.
This is what we have
Yeah.
discovered ourselves and been told ourselves, but we're not giving advice.
Because we wondered if she might need, like, I don't know, medication. Is there something wrong with her brain? We researched it.
There's literally nothing. It's to do with healthy children.
It's to do with the vagus nerve, and it's to do with like a signal. So when she gets upset, the vagus nerve will send a signal to the brain, I think, or something like that, and it'll automatically reflex and make her hold her breath for a little while. I think it technically makes the heart stop beating very temporarily, and then it beats again. And that sounds terrifying. When I read that, I was like, how is that fine? But apparently it's all on the NHS, it's on loads of different articles. I've even looked on loads of forums of other parents going through it, and it's perfectly fine. So like Harmon is a healthy, happy child, but when she like, so if she goes to cry and she gets a bit upset, that instantly...
I mean, to be honest, we're hoping that it never happens ever again.
Yeah, I'm hoping once the teething goes.
But if it does, then at least we're prepared now and we know what's happening, and like it doesn't cause any damage to them, doesn't cause any damage to their brain, it doesn't do anything, but it's just really terrifying.
She doesn't really get that badly upset anymore. She just more has little whinges. It's like that, isn't she? But it's just like now we have to be like really, really careful, and we're gonna have to get this balance of not being a helicopter parent and then like not allowing what do they call it, a spell happening. Yeah,
all of the information that we found about this says you shouldn't end up like changing your parenting method and like, you know, allowing them to have small things that they want which they might choke on just in the hopes of that you don't bring on one of these spells. But like,
yeah, you can't let them get their own way, because
that's kind of easier said than done though, you know. Like if she doesn't want her face wiped, we're not going to wipe her face, because I'm not like you. I mean, what I've been doing now as well.
Really
is like,
creative, haven't you?
I basically go, oh, I'm wiping my face, and then a little wipe on yours, then a little wipe on mine, then a little wipe on yours, and then she's like more open.
Everything
to it.
Takes a lot longer now, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we're going to gradually do it. Like
I've turned the aircon off in here, by the way, so the sound isn't rubbish, but we're literally sweating.
If any of you guys are going through this, like head over, because I'm going to probably do a post about this on Instagram, so head over there and share like your experience and story as well. That'd be really good to know. And if you have any tips on like teething babies and stuff, that'd be really good as well, like to help other parents going out through the same thing. And also just like to say, this has never ever happened to us before, like with Mia and Sienna. This is like brand new to us. It's like another experience that we're not a very positive experience, but one that we're getting to experience. And I feel like when things like this happen to you, or like somebody hasn't got good health, or one of you gets injured, or for whatever, it's just an opportunity for you to grow closer as a family and bond and grow and learn from it. Like even like the like really bad things happening, can like something good can come from it. So it's easier said than done.
But like in this particular situation for us, though. We are really grateful and really blessed that there isn't anything wrong with her.
I know.
Like, it's not anything serious, even though witnessing that is horrible, but we're really grateful that there isn't anything wrong with her.
And I feel like when that happened, the girls were quite upset afterwards, and as a family we all sat down, and it made me really appreciate everyone even more in that situation, because it kind of like, the first time it happened and then the third time, they were the most scariest, and seeing us sort of like slip out of consciousness, that kind of like is a little stark reminder of like what you could lose, if that makes sense.
How precious life is.
Precious it is. So that's like, it's been a great reminder for that.
So we needed to share this with you and just let you know what's going on, just to be open and honest, and hoping that it can help some of you, feel a bit more comforted that somebody else is experiencing what you're going through with your child as well. But to anybody else who's not going through this and you've watched this video anyway, there's nothing to worry about. Every single one of us is amazing. Life's amazing. We're really grateful for everything what's going on. Sending lots of love and positive energy out to you, and see you in the next video.
See you guys.